The movie starts with a rich high school kid named Sebastian, who is in psychological therapy for being too sexually addicted. In therapy, Sebastian is even turned on by his psychologist. After Sebastian withdraws from his therapy, suddenly this psychologist's daughter calls her on the phone and says that her naked pictures were spread on the internet, and it turned out that the one who spread them was Sebastian. The psychologist went to look for Sebastian, but he had left with a girl he had just met. Next, we are introduced to Catherine, Sebastian's half-sister. Catherine is labeled as a good girl and a role model at school. Then Cecil and her mother, Bunny, appear and ask her for tips and tricks on how to be a good girl. Suddenly, Sebastian arrives and greets Cecil's mother, speaking directly into her ear. Soon they felt uncomfortable with Sebastian, so Cecil and his mother finally left the house.
Mwah! Ciao.
After that, it is seen that Catherine is also a bad girl like Sebastian. Catherine says that she really hates Cecil because Catherine's boyfriend cheated on her with her. So Catherine wants to get revenge on Cecil. She ordered Sebastian to sleep with Cecil so that people will label Cecil as a bad girl. But Sebastian refused and said that he doesn't want to make love with Cecil because being with Cecil is really easy for him, and he also says that he needs a challenge. Sebastian then looked at a magazine that had a picture of a girl named Annette. She was known as a smart girl and also known for being the daughter of the principal. In the magazine, she mentioned that she did not want to make love before marriage. So Sebastian talks to his stepsister and confesses to her that he feels more satisfied if he can make love with Annette because he can increase the level of his fame. Catherine laughs at him and very much doubts that Sebastian can do that. Then, Sebastian feels even more challenged and invites Catherine to make a bet, where if Sebastian fails to make love with Annette, then Sebastian's favorite luxury car will be Catherine's. But if Sebastian succeeds in making love with Annette, he also gets to sleep with his stepsister, Catherine. And even better, Sebastian will be able to do it with her anywhere. So Sebastian goes to his aunt's house, and it turned out that his aunt was hosting Annette as her guest for a week. Sebastian was overjoyed and immediately began to make an attempt on Annette, but apparently Annette knew Sebastian's reputation as a bad boy. Feeling rejected, Sebastian is increasingly challenged by Annette's cold attitude. He is also curious as to who has revealed her secret. On the other hand, Cecil was studying music with his teacher named Ronald. Instead of teaching him how to play the instrument, Ronald was really excited about Cecil. Suddenly, Catherine interrupts them, and Ronald is surprised, so he leaves the place. Then Sebastian appears. He goes to see his gay friend and asks him who has spread his secret. His friend is suspicious of Greg, Annette's best friend, so his gay friend sleeps with Greg, and they ambush him with Sebastian, where they corner him by asking him if he had been the one to spread Sebastian's secrets. After Sebastian threatens Greg, we finally learn that it was Cecil's mother who leaked his secret. On the other hand, Catherine was relaxing with Cecil, and surprisingly, Catherine finds out that Cecil also likes her music teacher, Ronald. At home, Sebastian was very moody because he was upset with Cecil's mother. Finally, he gets together with Catherine to start hurting Cecil and his mother. So the next day, Sebastian and Catherine execute their mission by informing Cecil's mother about Ronald and her daughter's love story. Cecil's mother is angry and immediately throws Ronald out. When in the elevator Ronald is leaving, he meets Sebastian and Catherine, where they give him a love letter that Cecil had asked his daughter for. On the letter, she had written a confession of her love for Ronald. They then tell him to write a love letter in response. Next, Sebastian appears in a room with Cecil. She begins to strike poses to get him aroused. But Sebastian is not so easily seduced, although he ends up approaching her to kiss her, but not on the mouth. The next day, his aunt tells Sebastian and Annette to go to the nursing home. After returning, Annette knew that Sebastian was bored there, so she entertained him all the way home. Annette's entertainment makes Sebastian laugh, and it is here that they feel love for the first time. On the other hand, Catherine tells Cecil to try and practice sleeping with Sebastian, so that later she wouldn't make Ronald disappointed in making love to her. The next day, Sebastian was watching Annette. Catherine arrived and reminded him of the bet they made. Hearing that, Sebastian convinced Catherine that she would not lose. Then, Sebastian approached Annette and immediately kissed her. Apparently, Annette also wanted to be kissed by Sebastian. But suddenly, Annette changed her mind and immediately pushed Sebastian, and they got into a small fight. In the evening, Sebastian began to give up on getting Annette and started praying to God. But suddenly, instead of Annette saying goodbye, she closed the door and began to take off her clothes. After that, she told Sebastian to make love to her. But suddenly, something changes in Sebastian's mind. He flees the place because he couldn't sleep with Annette. The next day, Annette turns out to have left her aunt's house to move into her friend's house. After finding out where Annette was from Greg, finally Sebastian learned that Annette was still at the station. So he followed her and told Annette that he actually fell in love for the first time with her, and it turned out that Annette fell in love with him too. Finally, they start making love, and it is Annette's first time. So Sebastian has won the bet. He went back home to claim the prize of sleeping with his stepsister, but Sebastian, instead, heard moaning from Catherine's room. After entering the room, it turned out that Catherine was alone, but she fails to fool his stepbrother and finds Ronald hiding in the bed drawer. Ronald came out because he was embarrassed. Catherine was still not satisfied, so she tried to seduce Sebastian, but now he feels disgusted with her, so he left. However, she kept trying to seduce him, but when she went to look for him, she saw Sebastian had fallen deeply for Annette instead. She got angry again, so she told him that his reputation would be destroyed if he dated Annette. Catherine also threatened to tell Annette about the bet they had made. Upon hearing Catherine's threat, Sebastian decided to go and find Annette to tell her the truth himself. He told her that he had never loved her, and that he had only done it all because of a bet he had for sleeping with her. Annette was hurt and threw Sebastian out. Sebastian returned home and met Catherine. He told her that he had broken up with Annette, so it was time for Catherine to sleep with him. But it turned out that Catherine didn't want to do it because from the beginning she had planned all this. She confesses to him that she used Sebastian so she could screw Cecil, and not just Sebastian, even Ronald and Cecil's mother, where they were all like toys to Catherine. Then, Sebastian went to look for Annette, but she didn't want to see him. So Sebastian gave her a letter and his diary with all the girls who had slept with him. The next day, Catherine called Ronald on the phone and told him that Sebastian had slept with Cecil. Ronald was very angry and went looking for Sebastian. Finally, Ronald managed to find Sebastian and immediately beat him up. It turned out that Annette also followed Sebastian. She tried to break up the fight, but got thrown in the middle of the road and is about to get hit by a car. Sebastian, who sees this immediately, pushes Annette to safety, and Sebastian gets hit by the car and is now dying. Before Sebastian passed away, he had time to tell Annette that he loved her. The first day back of school begins. All the students commemorate Sebastian's death, where Catherine made a speech as student council president and Sebastian's stepsister. Suddenly, a student interrupts her and starts distributing a book that made one of the students leave. Catherine was annoyed and curious. It turns out that Cecil is handing out copies of Sebastian's secret diary, which has all the secrets and crimes that Catherine had got up to. Then, the principal confronts Catherine and decides to open up her necklace, where it turns out that there were drugs in it. Instantly, Catherine's reputation over the students was destroyed. At the end of the film, we see Annette, who feels overcome and finally happy because of her times with Sebastian. And the movie ends. Subscribe for more videos like this. Turn on notifications and leave a like to help the channel. Thanks for watching.